For many years, one of the most beloved parts of our unplugged High Holy Day services is when our members share their thoughts, stories, and experiences with the congregation. This year, we are privileged to hear from 4 members who will be speaking about their responses to the COVID-19 virus. On the High Holy Days, we often speak of teshuva as repentance or return, but it also has a secondary meaning of response. These special people all had a unique way of responding to the crisis. It is my pleasure to welcome them to our bima. First, I'd like to introduce Chris Sloan. Chris is a multiple Emmy award-winning producer, an entrepreneur, change agent, and thought leader with a unique ability to bring talent together for great things, both in business and humanitarianism. Chris and his agency 2C are largely responsible for helping us to produce and record our High Holy Day services. And we are most grateful to Chris and his wife Carla for helping to underwrite their production through the Caleb and Calder Sloan's Awesome Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to helping disadvantaged children in memory of his late son, Mr. Awesome Sloan. Chris has been a member of Temple Beth Shalom since 2005.
Lashana Tova. My name is Chris Sloan, husband of Carla and father of Caleb and Calder Sloan. I'm honored to share my family's story of teshuva during these holiest of days in this sacred space. The last time I spoke on this bima, the sanctuary was filled with hundreds of people mourning with us the loss of our son, Calder Jacob Sloan, at his funeral. I cannot enter this sanctuary without thinking about the saddest day of our lives, the day we said goodbye to our son, brother, and friend. Calder suddenly died 6 years ago, 7 days after his 7th birthday. He was electrocuted in our swimming pool due to a faulty pool light and electrical wiring. People said to us, there are no words to describe the loss of losing a child, and that's true. In that moment, there are no words. But we have found, as we have grieved Calder's loss, that there are in fact powerful words, and even more importantly, there is action. We have learned truly love never dies. Our boy was nicknamed Mr. Awesome. Now, any proud parent considers their child awesome, but Calder Jacob Sloan simply was awesome. He was athletic, loving, fun, a dreamer, and most of all, he was empathetic. Our kid genuinely cared so much about everyone around him. Calder attended TBS Foundation School. The day of the funeral, Miss Margie, Miss Rachel, and the school family presented us with this beautiful, moving tribute, a reflection of our son. They captured his essence perfectly when they wrote, "His energy permeated everything. His gentle, kind, and caring spirit touched us all. He just knew when someone felt sad or stressed, and he would reach up and pat you on the back just to touch base and let us know he was there to help. He would come right up to you and say, 'I need to give you a big hug right now.' Calder taught us lessons at such an early age. Be kind, be gentle, be joyful, and most importantly, live each and every day that we are blessed with." A few days after the funeral, a family friend of ours, Jim Cahill, took Calder's Learman School self-portrait and then added a mantra image that our dear friend Dana Zuckerman had posted about him on Facebook. Quote, "Adventure, laughter, kindness." Cahill then distributed the photo to many friends across social media. Within days, friends, families, celebrities, and people all over the world created a viral sensation of Mr. Awesome. Calder's Mr. Awesome image played on Ellen, The Today Show, on Jumbotrons in Times Square, the front of the Miami Heat Arena, and his self-portrait even graces an airplane at the entrance of Miami International Airport that's dedicated in his honor. It's christened Awesome Force One. Now, we were given such an outpouring of love from so many that we could never have imagined. It was the only joy we felt for a very, very long time. We were told by many, and knew instinctively in our hearts, that Mr. Awesome would change the world. In the dark times and days after his death, we learned how much he would change not only our world, but the world at large. We wanted to ensure our son would never be forgotten. His name would be eternal, his smiling Punim face would be forever present, and that his loving spirit would leave a positive dent in the universe. For Calder, the words "rest in peace" would not do. And though his life on this planet was over, his work was just getting started. You see, sometimes you don't choose causes, but they instead choose you. So many gave of themselves to us. Our response was to pay all that forward, all that love as best we could. With Calder's spirit and thousands who participate in the Mr. Awesome movement propelling us, we created a nonprofit foundation named for our boys, Caleb and Calder Sloan's Awesome Foundation. Its mission is to help disadvantaged children as well as children who are dealing with grief and loss. The foundation also responds opportunistically to sudden tragic man-made and natural events. But equally important is inspiring people, especially the next generations, with the joys of giving and putting service before self. Over the last 6 years, because of the support, donations, volunteers' time, and generosity of thousands, the foundation has made a tremendous difference in our world. It succeeded in changing pool safety codes and laws in Florida, annually beautifying inner-city schools with our Give Back Day, toy drives, exhibits such as the CNC Crane Company at the Miami Children's Museum, and creating the House of Awesome parties for a purpose, packing thousands of backpacks full of new school supplies for kids in need. In the wake of Hurricane Maria, the foundation led Operation Puerto Rico Care Lift and Operation Puerto Rico Gift Lift, which distributed over $500,000 worth of aid and toys on the ground to Puerto Ricans. And in alignment with our mission, the foundation provides free tuition endowments to experience camps, which are special camps meant for children who've lost a loved one, such as a sibling or parent. When COVID-19 hit, America and indeed the world entered a war with a silent enemy, the likes of which we haven't seen in over 100 years. And like a war effort, we all need to pull together and fight this common deadly foe. And millions, in fact, have pulled together. Our family felt blessed to have each other, our health, a roof over our head, and food in our bellies. We are fortunate when so many weren't. Calder's spirit came through once again to pay it forward. You see, we merely act on his ideas. First, the foundation launched the COVID-19 Has Met Its Match campaign. It matched individual donations, raising $125,000 for over 200 charities, hospitals, and first responder organizations on the front lines fighting COVID-19 of their choice across America. And now, with food insecurity becoming even more dire, the foundation has funded and staged many grocery giveaways for 500 to 1,000 families at a time all over South Florida, including right here on the beach. And when you see the people on these food lines, you might be surprised that they look like you and me. The effects of hunger cut across many socioeconomic lines. It doesn't discriminate. And this summer, House of Awesome came home to Miami as the foundation packed 500 backpacks full of school supplies for inner city kids K through 12 for the amazing Overtown Youth Center. Now permit this small plug. During these high holidays, the foundation is donating $1 per pound of food collected for TBS's Project Isaiah. So please drop off your generous donations. The goal is to collect 5,781 pounds of food for a matching donation of $5,781, 1 pound for each year in the Hebrew calendar. Feeding America says that 5,781 pounds of food and the matching $5,781 will feed 115,620 hungry people. So please fill a bag. Giving is a virtuous circle. One of the most beautiful examples of this is the wonderful Shema tree displayed in the Foundation School, which was created by the extraordinary art teacher and artist Lizette Samato. It's not only a lasting legacy, not only for our sons, but it too continues to give inspiration and joy to the children who are introduced to it every day. The lesson we have learned is that people want to give of their time, money, and resources if given the opportunity. None of the Awesome Foundation's campaigns would be possible without people opening their hearts, their hands, and let's face it, their wallets. Each of these numbers represent helping a human life, and the value on a human life is priceless. Not gonna lie, our participants and supporters learned firsthand the old adage is true: it's better to give than to receive. Yes, COVID-19 is contagious, but compassion is even more contagious. May you and your family have a healthy, safe, and joyful new year. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Angie Cohen and Arielle Suarez. Angie is the founder and creative director of Design Lab Miami. Design Lab Miami is a creative studio in North Miami, Florida, that teaches kids and adults all aspects of fashion, sewing, textiles, design, sustainability, and fashion technology. Angie is a graduate from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. She started Design Lab Miami in 2010 and has continually grown the business, including its new nonprofit arm, Design Lab Give, which was founded in 2017 to empower economically challenged women and girls around the globe by teaching them sewing skills. Arielle is a junior at Dash Senior High School in Miami. At 7 years old, Arielle knew she had a passion for fashion. Arielle enjoyed making dresses for her dolls, and when she saw information about a sewing school at Design Lab Miami, her mother signed her right up. Later, Arielle got the idea to print her artist grandfather's colorful and intricate collage designs onto fabric. And that idea was really the spark that led to her own business, Swedro by Arielle. Arielle is a 2020 Young Arts winner in the design arts and recently received a scholarship from Dash to attend Parsons, New York this summer.
Hi, my name is Angie Cohen.
And my name is Arielle Suarez.
The way that we responded to the pandemic, COVID-19, was actually a need for a mask for Arielle's grandfather.
So my grandfather asked me to make a mask for himself. He was quarantining at home right when the pandemic started, so I would say March 18th. Mm-hmm. And school was canceled. And so I went over to the design lab, which is like my second home, and we drafted a pattern to make a mask. I would say it took like 3 different test trials before we found a good fitting mask. I gave it to my grandfather, and of course he asked for more for his friends and for my grandmother as well. And then the next day on the news, Andrew Cohen asking for people who knew how to sew to please sew masks, and he made this initiative, but
we decided, why don't we just do that and do a call of action for our community and help all the people that we care here in Florida, rather than send the masks to New York. And basically that's how we started. We did a call to all the students at the studio, and friends and family, members of Temple Beth Shalom, reach out to us. They told us they don't know how to sew, but they will be able to help by cutting all the pieces.
They cut patterns for us. They cut the elastic, which is quite time consuming. So
that's right.
It was much more efficient to be able to sew masks. We were able to knock out a lot more.
Right. So for 2 months, Arielle and I were at the studio. Police came and knocked on our door, said, "Are you working?" And we said, "No, we're just making masks." So the North Beach Police Department asked us, can we get some masks for you guys? And we said, of course, everybody is welcome. We also allow people to take sewing machines and sew at home. So we will prepare a kit with all the necessary elements to create the mask and the sewing machine. We will leave it outside and people will come in, pick it up, and make the masks. Also, Arielle had the opportunity to work with the Marlins, and they gave us all these t-shirts because basically the masks were made out of t-shirt material.
So they were sustainable, and we also made a tutorial, about a 3-minute video, explaining step-by-step how to make the masks at home, a no-sew version and a sewing machine version.
And to our surprise and blessing anyways, when May came and we were allowed to open the business, I had no sewing machines, and I didn't remember who I lent the machines to, because there were so many people that we helped. That brother came in and gave us machines so we could start again to teach the kids. So we are very blessed because of that, and I think that the effort of the community to help out was an immense advantage. We donated over 2,000 masks to
Nicholas Children's Hospital, CVS
responders.
Pharmacy,
Yes,
Jackson, Mount Sinai.
Everybody that needed a mask, they could come to the studio and get it. So it was a great opportunity to help the community, and we're very proud, and we thank Robert Pomerant for inviting us to share our story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. David Sack was born and raised in Kendall Lakes and has been a member of Temple Beth Shalom since his childhood. He went to the University of Miami Medical School and returned to South Florida to practice emergency medicine. He is currently the chairman of the Department of Emergency Medicine at Mercy Hospital, and he lives here on Miami Beach with his wife and 2 children.
Hi, my name is Dave Sack. I'm an emergency room doctor and the medical director over at Mercy Hospital. I've been involved with the response to the pandemic from the beginning, from the first whispers of a disease coming back in late 2019. And I was involved in the ramp up and our preparation. Our hospital is part of a very large corporation, and we were tasked with coming up with a disaster response, and that's how we treated it. And I was impressed at the way that the team came together. I was really inspired at first by the first responders, by the emergency medical, the paramedics, and the other doctors. But there was a lot of fear early on, and we had the news telling us one thing, and then we had what we were seeing in the emergency room. And the build-up over the weeks till we started seeing our first patients was a scary time, and we were ready for hundreds of patients pouring in. We began preparing tents, preparing for spaces in the hospital to put patients, and we were preparing for this natural disaster as we were considering it. All through it, there was a lot of fear, but I was really inspired by my colleagues who, both the nurses and the doctors, remained calm. And then when the patients started coming in, it was impressive how we pulled together. The greatest inspiration, though, came from family and friends. It was a time, the first few months, when I was reaching out to mentors from years past. There were some friends of mine that I was reaching out to who I would talk to every day as the pandemic picked up, and I would start my day by talking to them, seeing how things were going in their emergency rooms across the country, see how they were responding, colleagues who'd moved to New York. And then the greatest resource was my family. I'd come home every night, and my wife and children were supportive and were there with smiles and hugs, and kept me calm and allowed me to go back in and keep the staff calm and treat the people that needed the treatment. We've seen thousands of patients now, and I think as a hospital, as a community, we did really well, and we seem to be going through this wave. And it feels like a time of renewal, because we are flushed out most of the patients from the hospital as far as we seem to be decreased in volume, and we seem to be headed in the right direction. I hope the trend sticks. So, thank you.